Okay, so good morning everybody. The topic I'm here to talk about is decoding hybrid and white collar terrorists. Um, but before that, I just want to say thank you to my co-panelists for all their informative things that they've touched on. And Bashir Asad Saab, aapki books padh ke, I have gone on so many news debates. And thanks to your books, there's a lot of information from your books that I've spoken on news debates. And Imtiaz sir, because of you, I never lose hope in Jammu Kashmir police, no matter what the situation is. But I always remember Imtiaz साहब जैसे लोग भी हैं. And असद बशीर साहब, एक और चीज जो आपने बोली थी, बिलाल आपके सामने आ गया था, and that was a very horrifying incident for you. I can understand. But that was also an opportunity for you to be a martyr. Okay, now how many of us agree that there are a lot of Kashmiris who call themselves nationalists, but it's only for a price? How many of us agree that, okay, we are nationalists, so government must give us security, government must give us this, government must give us power, government must take care of us, government must give us, because, we are not getting any acceptance in society, government must give us accommodation, government must give us a job. That is not what the people who fought for independence told to Gandhi ji, give us security, then we'll come with you for the Gandhi March, for the Independence March. That is not. If we are fighting against terrorism, we all have to understand we are Indians first. And how many Kashmiris, Muslims, believe that? How many Kashmiri Muslims feel Indian from within? And they don't feel that we are doing a favor to India by being on India's side, so India should do us favors. How many Kashmiri Muslims believe that? I want to know that. How many Kashmiri Muslims believe that we are actually Indians, we are doing a favor to Pakistan by not doing one more Balakot attack? How many Kashmiri Muslims feel that? How many Kashmiri Muslims feel that we have done a favor to Adnan Sami by giving him citizenship? It's, the thinking has to change, the pattern of our thinking has to change. Kashmiri Muslims, the largest, the bigger chunk of our community must start believing that we are lucky to be born as Indians. There is an actress called Sabha Kamar. She worked in some Bollywood movies also. She's a Pakistani actress. Since all of us are so fond of Pakistani shows and Pakistani this and that, we watch, the banned Pakistani channels. Kashmiri Muslims watch them on apps because, we kind of love their shows and everything. So fine. Please do go and watch the interview of Sabha Kamar, a Pakistani actress who was crying and telling the journalist that when I went for abroad to shoot for English medium, that's the Bollywood movie she did, the entire Indian crew was asked to go respectfully, while just because I am a Pakistani, I was made to stop at the airport, I was frisked, I was asked 100 questions, I was interrogated before I was allowed to go. And that was so embarrassing for me. And let me tell you, in that crew, Indian crew, which was allowed to go with dignity, walk away, oh, you're Indian, please sir, this way. Oh, you're Pakistani, this way. So the one who was allowed to go with dignity was also Irfan Khan, who was an Indian Muslim. So you have to understand that we all are very lucky to be born as Indians. And the jihadis, why I use the word jihadis, they are actually not jihadis. They are people who have fabricated the word jihad in a different way. Jihad, it has a different meaning. But they call themselves mujahideen, right? Mujahideen are ready to die for their cause. Isn't that respectable? We have very respectable enemies, if we see. And look at us. We get scared of one Bilal. Come on, sir. I would take it as an opportunity. I go out in a rickshaw, I go out walking, I tell people I don't want security. Because I want that opportunity to die as a martyr. So anyway, getting on to my topic, before the bell rings. So, what is hybrid terrorism? Okay, so hybrid terrorism, a hybrid terrorist rather, is a member of a terrorist group, but one who has no police record. So, sir, it does exist. Asad Bashir Saab said it is a concocted word, it's not. It does exist. It's a member of a terrorist group who has no police record. Such individuals are sympathetic to the terrorist cause, which we call terrorist cause, but they call it a militant cause. And they carry out targeted killings. This is how they're defined. And they use unconventional warfare tactics. So this is where the challenge is. So the most outstanding unconventional warfare tactic which exists in Kashmir is a systematic network of fake news. That's the next one. So in this slide, sorry, how do I go back? Yeah. So in this slide, for example, so how many of us know about the fact that there is a Gilani force which claims that the two murders which were done of the teachers, okay, they were first identified as non-Kashmiris, non-Muslims, and then they were dragged out of the school and killed in broad daylight at point blank range. So how many of us know that there is a Gilani task force which claims these murders? So there are a lot of such so-called tanzeems that we are not aware of, and we need to find out. And these are all, and I was talking about fake news. Fake news is one of the unconventional warfare tactics which hybrid terrorists use. So here are some famous people, but we need to keep in mind that most of them who are indulging in these tactics are not living in Kashmir. They are all living abroad, and they are trying to peddle fake news from there about Kashmir. So that is one way. Now, the people who retweet these people, on social media networks, who share their posts, I guess they could be also called as hybrid terrorists because they are trying to propel these thoughts within our country. So another unconventional warfare tactic is lawfare, where now this is done by Kashmiris who live within India and outside India, both. So the ones, now we can only have a control on those who live within India. So what is lawfare is that you try to sabotage your enemy by delegitimizing them, by picking up, by saying that there are certain laws which this country is not following, and in a legal way you're trying to fight them. You're trying to misuse legal principles to finish your enemy. And that is what Kashmiris, like for example, Masrat Zehra goes around saying that India is not following the rules of press freedom. And then there is Safura Zargar, who made, how do I say it, during the CAA, so during the CAA clashes, she had a lot to do with the CAA clashes, which led to the death of 54 people, including a 4-month-old baby, who died of cold and starvation. All thanks to workers like her. So this is one tactic that we need to see the tactics which they use, and we need to accordingly deal with them. Then another way of doing hybrid terrorism is foreign electoral intervention, which we can clearly see from some of our Kashmiri leaders. When Mehbooba Mufti says talk to Pakistan, and the same Mehbooba Mufti gets so much security from our government, she is called for the central, the center invites her to give her opinions. The same lady who was sitting outside Jantar Mantar with 3 people, she is taken as our voice, and she is invited by the center to give her opinions. And where is that Naya Kashmir? Where is that promise that new leaders would be invited to give their opinions? No, but she is invited. The lady who says talk to Pakistan and makes it obvious that there is Pakistani interference in her politics. What about Akbar Lone, who shouts Pakistani slogans during his election rally? During his Indian elections rally, he shouts Pakistan Zindabad, which clearly shows there is Pakistani influence in our electoral process in Kashmir. So this has to be tackled. So systematically, if we tackle fake news, systematically if we tackle lawfare, systematically if we tackle foreign intervention in our electoral process, I think that's where we can get somewhere. And by the way, let me please tell you that both these people have securities, accommodation provided by the government. Maybe that's where we have to hit first. I mean, I'm just suggesting, not saying anything, not taking any responsibility for whatever happens to them after this. Okay, next is white-collar terrorism. So white-collar terrorism is basically it's a full range of anti-national activities which can be committed by respectable people of the civil society, which means business people, government professionals, and it can be activities like deceit, concealment, violation of trust, basically, but not using physical force or violence. So the biggest example of this in Kashmir is the hit list blog preparers who owned and propelled a secret terror and intimidation machinery, who were the masterminds behind an online blog site called KashmirFightWordPress.com, which ran smear campaigns and regularly prepared a hit list of prominent Kashmiri personalities, which included social, political activists, lawyers, people like Satpal Nischal or Shujat Bukhari, or even Advocate Babar Qadri for that matter. So the police arrested them after recovering incriminating digital material from their houses, digital equipment. And this nexus consisted of prominent personalities, like you can see over there, the SMC Secretary Sophie Muhammad Akbar, and self-proclaimed youth icon Rakif Makhdoumi, who was also a drug addict, by the way. So like Imtiaz sir said, drugs is a big reason for people to do this. So if a youth who's unemployed is getting drugs, he'll do anything to please his masters. So anyway, the rest is for you guys to guess. Now this blog designed a modus operandi. I'll just show it to you. Where the name of the victim was first published, then detailed justification was given as to why he is a legitimate target of the terrorists. And finally, that targets actual execution by the terrorists. So this is how the modus operandi runs. So one thing that we need to look out for is people जो बाकियों को बहकाते हैं किसी एक टारगेट के खिलाफ. So we need to look out for those kind of people. There are also people guised as nationalists who are doing this. Please let me tell you. They call themselves nationalists and they go around saying bad things about fellow nationalists in front of shady people and hoping that nationalist gets executed. So we have a lot of, because I'm sorry to say this, because a lot of this Kashmiri Indian nationalism is fake. So that is why this conflict business that was spoken about before, it also exists in the so-called nationalists of Kashmir. So we need to look out for such people who are not standing up with and for their co-nationalists and rather trying to derail them, rather trying to make them targets of such hit lists. We need to look out for them and report them right away. Okay, so we move on to the next one. Okay, so now coming back to how terrorists get manufactured. So what I've put up here is really, I have no bias towards anyone, whether it's police or army. Both are, Daler shares of our country. Both have taken bullets on their chests for our country, and both are our heroes, no doubt about it. But there's a certain difference in the way they both operate, which might be a reason why terrorists are getting manufactured, which you can see over here. And I'll give you just one example. There are many like this. So we tend to think, right? The NGOs tend to think that because of not having employment and not having chances, opportunities, or because of coming from dysfunctional families, or because of being into drugs, that's why you join militancy. It's not so. It's also because they are made to feel that you have not done anything for your ummah. You have not done anything for your religion. You are a waste of a Muslim. When they are made to feel like that, that's why they enter. Now, the best example for this is Danish Bhatt from Natipora. He was a rich guy. Sorry, sir, 2 more minutes. He was a rich guy. His father was in government services, but he still got into militancy and stone petting. Why? Because when he went to these kind of environments, religious environments, he was brainwashed. He was made to feel like he's useless. He's doing nothing for Islam. And then when he finally surrendered, he actually revealed that I made a mistake, I repented. Politics is much better than militancy. So this is where we need to target first. We must make them proud to be Indians, and that's the way. And those who are not proud to be Indians, who shout Pakistan Zindabad slogans, their political license should be forfeited and their security should be forfeited and accommodation and all of that. So we must have a very honest approach to this. If we are Indians, we must honestly think like Indians. And we must stop this action of winning hearts. What is winning hearts exactly? Kabhi unko bhi chance do that they win Indians' hearts. Let them first feel proud as Indians. Winning hearts, yes. Indians don't need to go out of their way to win hearts because our constitution is so beautiful. It has place for everybody. It has benefits for everybody, for every kind of category of our society. It has equal rights for everybody. So it's already a heart winner in any case. So I think what we need to do is just start thinking as Indians and start from there. And those who don't think like us, there is no reason to, like for example, this one thing I wanted to say. Those students who supported Pakistan in the match and were very happy about Pakistan's win against India in the cricket match, there is no need to arrest them and put them in jail. क्योंकि jail में भी जो खाना खाएंगे वो Indians के tax money से ही खाएंगे. What needs to be done is actually, I feel what should have been done. See, now if everybody thinks like an Indian, they will agree with me. What should have been done is that the principal of that college should have come and said, जो भी इनके माँ बाप हैं, sorry, मैं ऐसे बच्चों को अपनी कॉलेज में नहीं रखना चाहता, मैं इनको एज इंडियन नहीं एक्सेप्ट करता क्योंकि इन्होंने ऐसी हरकत की. हाँ, ये अगर यूके ऑस्ट्रेलिया कहीं का भी बोलते कि वी आर हैप्पी अबाउट देयर इज फाइन, लेकिन पाकिस्तान जो है एनिमी नेशन है जिसकी वजह से हमारे भाई मरते हैं बॉर्डर पे. एंड आई एम सॉरी, मैं ये नहीं एक्सेप्ट कर सकता. इनके पेरेंट्स आके प्लीज इनको ले जाए. बाकी जो बच्चे हैं उनको खड़े होकर बोलना चाहिए, वी डोंट एक्सेप्ट दिस गाय इन आवर कॉलेज बिकॉज ही डिड लाइक दिस. Social acceptance should be denied to such people. They should not be put in jail. Why should they be put in jail? Just deny social acceptance, and that should do the trick. Thank you so much.